balance is the most important thing when you're in a job of leadership because there's a lot of demands on your time. And it's just not necessarily demands of the coaching. You have to deal with the front office, you have to deal with the owner, you have to deal with the fans, you have to mingle, you have to sell your product all the time. But I always made time for my family. So that's why I'm not a golfer, I'm not a fisherman,
Right.
I don't really have any hobbies because my hobbies was my family. When
Yeah.
when I wasn't at the field, everything was focused around doing things with my wife and kids. And I've always said, if you want to be great at something, you have to give something up.
Yeah.
And what I gave up was doing some of those other things so I could have a wonderful marriage. My wife and I have almost been married 37 years. We have 3 kids. I have wonderful kids, proud of all of them. And that was the most important thing to me. I laugh because our kids are still on, I have a daughter 26, a son 24, a daughter 19. They're still on Find My Friends. We know where they are all the time and they
That's
know
great.
where we all the time. And that makes me feel good because my wife put a ton of effort into keeping our family together and making sure that we were always doing things, my wife Kim. And to me, the balance is so important because without your family, you have nothing.
Yeah, that's great. I can remember in 2017, we were playing in the Hall of Fame game in Canton, and you guys were in Cleveland playing the Indians/Guardians at the time, and you came by. I think we did a walkthrough at the Cleveland Playhouse, the old
Yes,
theater,
yes.
and you were kind enough to come by with Dante and talk to the team. It was a great memory for me.
Yeah, I mean, football is my first love. I mean, baseball is what I did for a living, but to me, there's nothing better than football. And I got to play through high school and just the excitement that builds up, as you go from Monday to Tuesday to Wednesday. We used to play Friday nights. It
Yeah.
was it was just so emotional and so spectacular that I've always loved it. And I'm a huge college football fan. I follow a ton of that. I'm grew up a Bears fan, was got to watch the 85 Bears, obviously, and go see the playoff game against the Rams with
Wow.
one of my teammates from Northwestern. But just to let my son experience that and be around so many great professional athletes, and you see the size and the speed and the athleticism, it was always great for him to see, and he loved every minute of it. And those are some of my fondest memories doing things with my kids like that.
Yeah, it was great for me to, I was so proud to have you to kind of introduce you to our guys, and I can remember Jason Witten and Prescott and Des Bryant all fired up to talk to you. So it was a great day. I love that.
The A lot of
Yeah,
fun. I
yeah,
I I would have thought that your walkthrough would have been on grass or turf. I didn't
exactly.
expect it to be on a wood
It
floor.
was an old theater. It was a crazy deal. Hey, let's go back. You mentioned growing up, Peoria, Illinois. Your dad's an Air Force guy. Clearly, you're a guy of great, you know, moral leadership. The way you go about living your life is just always so impressive and inspirational to me. Talk about your influence of your parents and growing up in Middle America.
Ooh, well, I followed my father wherever he went. That was Joe Girardi. They used to give me a hard time and said that I was dad's pet. I was the fourth of 5 children, 2 older brothers, an older sister, a younger brother. We grew up in a great town. Both my parents worked very hard. They were involved in everything that we did, whether it was little league or my dad, cooking for the training table as we played on Friday nights, high school football. My mom and dad really believed in education. My mom was a child psychologist. Unfortunately, we lost her way too young as she died from cancer. But my father taught me so many things. My father taught me the value of hard work as he worked 3 jobs so we could go to private schools. Um, he took me to work with him. I'd lay bricks with him on the weekends. He would pay me as his laborer. He gave me my first $100 bill when I was like 7 years old because I helped him for 2 weekends putting up a fireplace. Um, and he taught me always to finish the job. Um, and that was really important to me.
Yeah.
That you got to finish what you start because my father always did that, and he did it. He didn't necessarily try to teach me that, but it was the lessons that I learned from watching him that taught me finish the job and then do whatever you have to after that. And I just had loving parents that allowed us to have a ton of success. They wanted us to go to the best schools. They allowed us to play sports and allowed us to play all sports. And they worked really, really hard. And we were fortunate. And we grew up in a great place in Peoria, Illinois, where families were really important. And we grew up at a really good time there. And I loved my childhood.